have enough is eyes and ears, just kind of watching out for anything that may look, you know, unusual in our communities.
So let's talk now to that more wealthier, more well-to-do family who's being forceful in the maintenance of staff or workers. These are some of the people we're talking about, are they not? These people that don't pay the right wages, they don't allow them freedom to leave, they make threats against them. I mean, people are thinking, oh, traffickers, these evil criminals. And the fact is that we've seen cases here in Hollywood of late where, you know, assumedly upstanding citizens living in very high-class, middle-class neighborhoods or upper-class neighborhoods have slaves working in their homes. What do you say to people to, you know, I guess, how do you convince them that it isn't just in the ghetto neighborhood or in the lower-end neighborhood where this stuff is occurring?
Well, it could happen anywhere, and I think, and there are examples of it. I mean, in Orange County, there was that young Egyptian girl that was living with an Irvine family, and you know, she was of school age, yet someone noticed that she wasn't going to school, that she was always in the house. And so I think it is happening. We do have a case, you know, that's one case. I mean, there's many others out there that we haven't been able to identify. So, I mean, it's not just your rundown neighborhood. It could happen anywhere. I mean, there's a demand for cheap labor. That's the reality of the world that we live in. And there's, you know, a demand for, you know, for the sex industry as well. But the one thing I do think that it's very common is labor exploitation. That's something that we don't hear often enough, that labor exploitation does exist. And in Orange County, that's one example. That Egyptian girl that was held in this affluent family's home. She was made to work as a slave and slept in the garage. And
kept in her pajamas, as I understand
it,
forever, you know, basically.
And lucky for her, you know, she was identified, and now she's working, you know, to help others.
So it, you know, it is called VietACT, but it doesn't sound to me like you're focused only on the Vietnamese community. If there's people out in the audience that are interested in getting involved, first of all, you know, what groups are you touching, and two, how do they do that?
So VietACT stands for the Vietnamese Alliance to Combat Human Trafficking. It started within the Vietnamese community because a lot of the victims internationally are of Vietnamese descent. There's a large population, and there's just something about it. I mean, for me personally, I was very lucky. My parents, you know, escaped Vietnam after the war. My dad was in the South Vietnamese Army, so he was in prison by the communist government, and then was able to escape and came here by boat.
So you're a fighter in your genes.
There you go.
There you go.
And so I feel very fortunate, but at the same time, like, it could have been me. One of these girls that are now, you know, working as prostitutes in other countries, or had to go through a marriage broker system or something. And so I feel very blessed to be able to live the life I have here in the United States and been able to get the education I've had. And I think many folks that have joined VietACT are in that similar regard. And we truly believe that the only way to fight something like this is more people get involved. And it's not that hard. I mean, I think the basic thing that anybody can do is we need to raise awareness and be aware that human trafficking exists.
So how do they get in touch with you?
Well, we have a website, and our website is www.vietact.org, VIETACT.org. We're also on Facebook. You can search VietACT. And there's a lot of ways to get involved with our organization. We work primarily with student groups. We also are willing to come out and put together a workshop program, work with community groups. We've worked with Sarath Metis, we work with church groups, with different schools. And our main thing is trying to get the young people to be involved. And to understand that human trafficking is something that exists, and it may sound like something that's really big and what can I do, but there's a lot we can do.
Well, I'm glad you're out there fighting for us and with us, and I'm glad to be working alongside of you in this fight against human trafficking, and I hope you'll come back again sometime soon. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You have been watching Facets Television, and I'm Kevin McDonald.